Hello students, myself Rohit Vashist, Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College. And today I am here to deliver another lecture on the very important subject of computer science field, that is design and analysis of algorithm. Today we will study quicksort, how can we sort an given array using quicksort, and we also study the another flavor of sorting algorithm, that is sorting in linear time, that sort the given array in order of n time, that is linear time of input size. So first of all, we are starting with quicksort. Quicksort, based on the divide and conquer approach of algorithm designing, I have briefed various algorithm designing approaches in the previous lecture. The various algorithm designing approaches are divide and conquer, dynamic programming, greedy approach, backtracking, branch and bound. So this quicksort depends on divide and conquers algorithm. That divide the main array, that given array, into sub arrays until we have a sub array of size 1. Means if we have a sub array of size 1, that means the array is itself sorted, so there is no need of further division. So it recursively or consecutively divide the parent array into sub array until we get the array of size 1. So in this quicksort, an unsorted array A is taken, in which the starting index is represented by small p and r is the ending index of the array. So it follows the three steps. First step is divide. In divide step, the array A with index p to r is partitioned into two non-empty sub-arrays. One sub-array size is p to q and another one array is having size q plus 1 to r. In conquer step, the sub-arrays are recursively sorted by calls to quicksort, and at last we combine the result of the sub-arrays, we combine the sorted sub-arrays to get the parent sorted array. So in this manner divide and conquer approach works. It divides the main sub problem into sub problems, and we find the problems, we find the solution for the sub problems, and then the solution of various sub problems are combined to get the solution for the parent problem. So this approach is followed here. So this is the quicksort algorithm. In quicksort algorithm, the array A is taken and the starting index is p and r. First of all, we will check that the starting index is less than ending index or not. If p is less than r, then we will do the partition, and there is a sub procedure partition which is called here, and which gives the index q for partitioning the main array. Then we recursively call quicksort into two half sub arrays. First half is p to q minus 1 and the second half is q plus 1 to r. To sort the entire array A, the initial call is quicksort A, starting index is 1 and the ending index is A dot length. So this is the recursive algorithm for quicksort, which is using one nested procedure, that is partition procedure. We will discuss what is the working of partition procedure and what is the need of partitioning procedure in quicksort. This is the partition procedure. What the partition procedure do? This quicksort is the basic quicksort algorithm. There is another flavor of quicksort algorithm, that is randomized quicksort. Clear? So in basic quicksort algorithm, we select a pivot element. There is a key term, pivot element, in quicksort. What is pivot element? We select the last element of the array as pivot element, and we try to place the last element of the array into the right position in such a way that all the elements that are left to the pivot element are lesser than it, and all the elements that are right to the pivot element are greater than or equal to it. So in every one iteration, we are placing a pivot element at its correct position. For example, you can see here in the first step, x is assigning the value of a of r, and r is the ending index. That means x is the pivot element, and I am assigning x as the last element of the array A. Now I will use two pointers variable, two index variable, that is I and j. The value of I will be p minus 1. Initially p is 1 if you are taking the indexing of the array 1 to 8. Suppose there are 8 elements in the array. If you are taking the indexing of array from 1 to 8, so the value of p will be 1 and the value of r will be 8. So the value of I will be always be 1 less than p. So initially the value of I will be p minus 1, that is 0. Then you will run the loop of j p to r minus 1, and you will check that each element is lesser than of x or greater than of x. And depending on the comparison, you will exchange the value of ai and aj, and at last you will return I plus 1. What is this at 8th step? What is this I plus 1? What is this I plus 1? In quick sort, there is a in second step there is a statement q is equal to partition, and we are giving partition 3 arguments, array A, P and R. So the value of q will be this I plus 1. Clear? So the partition procedure will return a index value q where the pivot element can be correctly placed. So this I plus 1 is the correct value of the correct index value of the pivot element where we have to fix the pivot element. Clear? So here this is the I plus 1 is the index value of the pivot element. So this will be initialized to q. So every time the partition procedure will fix one element of the array at its correct position. So this is the working of partition procedure. So here you can see the array. There is a index element I, P and J, and I is P minus 1 and J will run P to R minus 1. Clear? Initially our pivot element is this 4. Our pivot element is 4, the last element of the array. Now my task is to place this element 4 at its correct position. So what I will do, I will compare this 4 with each and every element of the array and will do the swapping. In the previous slide we have studied these two swapping will be done depending on the comparison. In step number 6 and 7 we are doing the swapping after comparing the element of the array with the pivot element x. So here we will compare 4 with 2, 4 with 8, 4 with 7, and we will at the last step what I will get all the elements that are lesser than 4 in the left sub array and all the elements that are greater than 4 at the right sub array, and the pivot element 4 is placed at its correct position. So what the partition procedure will return? Partition procedure will return q is 4. That is the pivot element 4 will be placed at its correct position, that is the index value 4th position पे हम इसको place करेंगे. So all the elements that we are getting left to it are lesser than pivot element, and all the element that we are getting at the right hand side of it are greater than of it. Now we will call the quick sort recursively on this left sub array and right sub array. For left sub array, now the pivot element will become 3, and for the right sub array the pivot element will become 8. So we will recursively call the quick sort algorithm on this left and right sub array until we get the sub-array of size 1. So, performance when we are doing the analysis of quicksort, the analysis of quicksort can be studied in compliance to the analysis of merge sort. In merge sort, we are dividing the array again into two halves, but here there the partition can be taken place by this formula. We are taking the average of starting and ending index, and in merge sort we always get the equal sized sub arrays. The two sub array, left and right sub array, are of equal sized, but in quick sort it may or may not be possible. So depending on the partition, what the partition procedure is doing, whether it is doing balanced partitioning, whether it is doing unbalanced partitioning, the performance of quicksort can be analyzed. So first of all, worst case partitioning. What is worst case partitioning? See the worst case. Worst case will be there. Suppose there are n elements in an array. N elements are in array, and after the partitioning, there can be two possibilities. First possibility is pivot element. Here n minus 1 elements, and here 0 element. This is the first case. Second case, here 0 element, here pivot element, here n minus 1 elements. So these are the two cases of worst case partitioning, where there is nothing after the pivot element, or there can be nothing previously to pivot element. So here I am getting left skewed array, and here I am getting right skewed array. So this is the unbalanced partitioning. So in the worst case, when the there is no element after the pivot element, and or there is no element before the pivot element, so this is the worst case of quicksort. And the recursive formula for worst case can be written like this. The input problem of size n, the input problem of size n can be decomposed of sub array containing n minus 1 element, another side 0 element, and to combine these two solution I am requiring only theta of 1 cost. Clear? So this is the recursive formula, and if I solve this recursive formula, so what I will get? n minus 1 plus n minus 2 plus n minus 3 and up to 1. This series I will get if I expand this recursive formula, and we all know, we all have studied this type of recursive formulas in discrete mathematics. The solution to this recursive formula will be order of n square. So the worst case time complexity of quicksort is quadratic. When quadratic, when we are getting this kind of partitioning, and we will say this kind of partitioning is unbalanced partitioning, where we are getting the whole array at one side, and at the another side we are getting nothing. So this is the worst case of quicksort. Next is best case. In best case, now the partitioning will be the best case of quicksort is equal to merge sort. We can say the best case of quicksort can be understood as the merge sort case when we are getting the balanced partitioning. For example, in between pivot element and the two sub arrays are always containing the n by 2 elements. We are getting left and right sub array of almost equal size, then we will say that the pivot element, this partitioning is balanced. So in this case, what we have done, we have partitioning the input problem of n size into two sub problems of size n by 2, and combining the solution of these two sub problem is taking theta of n time. So if I solve this this recursive formula using Master's theorem, and if I compare it with the Master's theorem formula A T n by b plus Fn, so the value of A will be 2 and the value of B will be 2 and Fn will be n. So if you solve this formula with the second case of the Master's theorem, so you will get the time complexity of quicksort as n log n in best case, which is equal to the time complexity of merge sort. So this is the best case of quicksort, where when the partitioning is balanced, when we are getting two sub arrays of almost equal size containing n by 2 elements. Now the next flavor of sorting algorithm is sorting in linear time. The merge sort will gives the time complexity n log n. Quick sort in best case give us time complexity n log n. Can we reduce this time complexity n log n factor to n? That is linear. So yes, why? Which category of sorting algorithm? That is sorting in linear time. So these algorithm sort the input array into a linear time, but they impose some boundation, they impose some condition on the input that you are giving them to for sorting. So we will see one by one the sorting algorithms in this. So we shall prove that any comparison sort must make theta of n log comparison in the worst case to sort n elements. Thus merge sort or heap sort are asymptotically optimal, and no comparison sort exists that is faster by more than a constant factor. So this condition give rise to this sorting in linear time, where we want to reduce this factor to theta of n. We want to eliminate this log n factor, and we want to optimize this to linear time. So this give rise to sorting in linear time algorithms. So the very first algorithm that we are going to discuss in this category is counting sort. Counting sort, as the name suggests, it counts the frequency of the elements that you are getting in the input array. For example, you are giving the input like this. Clear? As I told you earlier, that these sorting algorithms imposes or wants a certain condition or boundation on the inputs that you are giving to them for sorting purpose. So what the boundation this counting sort is putting on the input array, what constraint it requires? It requires that the input should be in the range 0 to k, where k is the highest integer. For example, if the input array is 2, 3, 5, 0, 0, 1, 4, so here the value of k is 5, the highest integer value is 5. Clear? So it imposes that all the inputs should be in the range 0 to k. This is the input array A1 to n. Output array is also requiring, and there is a supplementary or supporting array C, which is carrying the frequency of these elements. So here you are requiring two additional arrays. You are requiring additional arrays, additional memory you are declaring to for getting the sorted output. So that's why this algorithm is not in place sorting algorithm. This is not in-place sorting algorithm. Why? In-place sorting algorithm are those sorting algorithm that sort the input array by just shuffling the elements into the array. They require nothing additional array for generating the sorting output. But counting sort is requiring two additional array, that is B and C, for generating the output. That's why this sorting algorithm is not in-place sorting algorithm. So this is the sorting counting sort algorithm. Here the A is the input array, B is the output array, and K is the highest value integer. Again, I am taking the same example. Here the value of K is 5. Now for 0 to K, here I will maintain a array C which index value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That will keep the frequency of these. Initially it will be 0. You will put 0 in all the indexes. Now you will run a loop j1 to length of A. C A of j is giving C of A j plus 1. By these two statement, what I am doing, I am storing the frequency of these elements into C array. If you execute this, the array will be like this: 2, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. Means the ith index of the array C will contain the frequency of that index. For example, if the value of C of 4 is 0, if the value of C of 4 is 0, then what it means, that the frequency of digit 4 in the input array is 0, means 4 is not occurring at all in the input array. If the frequency of C5 is 1, that means if the value of C5 is 1, means the frequency of 5 in the input array is 1. Clear? So by these two steps you are storing the frequency of the each and every element of the array. Next is this C of I is C of I minus 1. So what it is doing, it is storing the cumulative frequency of the element. For example, the cumulative frequency will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 and 5. This will be the cumulative frequency by this formula. Now if the value of C4 is 5, then what does it means now? If the value of C of 4 is 5, then what does it mean? It means that in my input array A, I am having total 5 elements which are lesser than 4 or equal to 4. Clear? Now earlier the array C is storing the frequency of the array. Now I am storing the cumulative frequency. For example, if the index value of C1 is 3, what does it means? That there are total 3 elements which are lesser or equal to 1 in the input array A. So after doing this, after storing this cumulative frequency, what I will do now, I will take this array input this variable j, and I will make a downward loop from length A to down to 1, and I will store the corresponding element into the output array B, and after storing the element, what I will do, I will decrement the frequency of that element. That yes, अगर मैंने 5 की फ्रीक्वेंसी हमारा 5 है, तो हमने क्या करा, 5 को उसकी करेक्ट पोजीशन पे प्लेस करवा दिया और इसको एक डिक्रीमेंट कर देंगे बाय 4. मीन्स नाउ देर आर टोटल 4 एलिमेंट्स दैट आर लेसर और इक्वल टू 5 इन द इनपुट array A. So this is the counting sort algorithm. If I analyze the complexity of counting sort, so there are 3 loops, one here, second and third. So there are 3 loops, and all three loops are running for n elements. That's why the time complexity of counting sort is order of n. So this is the implementation part of the counting sort. Initially array A is given where the starting index is 1 and ending index is 8, and the value of k is the highest value integer is 5. So the value of k is 5. So what I have done, I have declared my array C from 0 to 5 and I have stored the frequency of each element. In the second step, what I have done, in second step I have done C of I will be replaced by C of I plus C of I minus 1. So what I have done, I have replaced the content of the ith index of the array C by the cumulative frequency. And next, in the next step, what I have done, I have stored the corresponding element in the output array B and have decremented the corresponding frequency of the element in the C array. And finally, I have got the output array B here as 0, 0, 2, 3, 3, 5. Now, here arises a question, what is the limitation of counting sort? The limitation of counting sort is that if your array is having, suppose, this like of input. So if your array is having this kind of input, one element is 100, so the processing array, that is C array, will be initialized from 0 to 100. That will take the lot of memory space. So the counting sort give better output for smaller range of inputs. It doesn't give output for higher range of input. It unnecessarily wastes the memory in terms of array C. Next is this I have discussed that it contains 3 loops. That's why, and all 3 loops are running in order of n time. So that's why the time complexity of counting sort is theta of n. Radix sort. Now the next flavor in this counting in linear time is radix sort. Radix sort imposes a condition again on the input array that all the input elements should be of d digits. For example, 3 digit, all are of 3 digit, all are of 2 digit, all are of 4 digit. Now it sort the array digit by digit and generate the output array. This is the time complexity algorithm for radix sort, which contain the array A and d digit, and you will do a stable sort on the unit digit value, you will do a stable sort on 10 digit value, you will execute a stable sort on the 100 digit value. So you will sort the elements in order of their dth place, unit place, tens place and 100th place. Clear? For example, here you can see all the in arrays, all the input numbers are of 3 digits. So here the value of d is 3. First of all, you have sorted this unit digit. Unit digit सबसे पहले sort होगा, then tens digit sort होगा, and then finally 100 digit. जब आप unit digit को solve कर रहे हो, तो it might be possible that the two numbers are of equal quantity, equal weighted. For example, this 7, 7. So with 7 you will pick the first 457. Why? Because 457 and 657 are having the same unit digit 7, 7, but you will pick 457 first. That's why this radix sort is stable sort. What is stable sort? When the relative order of the same elements will be preserved or will be same in the output sorted array, then we will say that yes, our sorting algorithm is stable. So here we are maintaining the order of the same elements. That's why we will say that yes, this radix sort is stable. So in this manner, first of all, unit digit will be sorted, then tens digit, and then 100 digit, and at last you will get the desired output 329, 355, 436 and so on up to 839. These are the sorted elements. And again the time complexity of Radix sort is, because you will applying the stable sort is taking order of n time, and you are applying how many times? Multiply by d digit, जितना digit number है उतनी बार हम apply कर रहे हैं. That's why the time complexity is d into n, and this is a constant which will not be changed. So the overall time complexity will vary according to the input size, that is n. So again the time complexity of Radix sort is order of n. This is the last sorting algorithm under this category in sorting in linear time, that is bucket sort. Bucket sort impose a condition that your input should be in the range 0 to 1. Means it generally used to sort the decimal digits within the linear time. So I have imposed a condition that my input should be in 0 to 1, and it create a bucket for each kind of digit that we are getting in the input array, and the total expecting time to run this algorithm is again order of n. And this sorting algorithm is also used in hash tables. So this is the time complexity of bucket sort. N is the length of array. For I equal to 1 to n, what you are doing, you are inserting the corresponding ith array element of the array into the list. Now suppose a number of buckets are created, B0, B1, B up to Bn minus 1. Now you will sort these buckets individually using insertion sort, because insertion sort give a linear time output array if you are having a smaller range of elements. So these buckets will contain maximum to maximum 2 elements, 3 elements. So insertion sort will give the output array in the linear time. At last, what we will do? We will merge all the buckets into a single linked list with the concept of pointers. So this is the your diagram, implementation diagram. This is the input array, 0.78, 0.17. All the elements are in the range 0 to 1. And this is the bucket. For example, 0.78 will be kept in 7th bucket, 0.72, 0.78. 0.17 will be kept in the first bucket, 0.17. 0.39 will be kept here in third, 0.39. And these forward slashes are representing that we are having no element in the bucket 8th, 5th, 4th and 0th bucket. Means we are not having such kind of element 0.01, 0.40. Such kind of digits are not there. That's why these buckets are empty. Now what we are having B1 bucket, B2 bucket, next is B6, next is your B7 and at last B9. And these are having 2 to 3 elements maximum. So what we will do? We will sort these buckets using insertion sort. We will sort these buckets and these buckets are sorted 0.12, 0.17, 0.21, 23, 26. So these buckets are sorted, and what we will do? We will remove this dangling pointer and we will attach to this list. Then this list will be attached to this. Then this too. So with the help of linked list, we will attach all the buckets, and at last 0.12 up to 0.94 we will get the desired output sorted array. So when this bucket sort will give you worst result, when all the elements or maximum elements are in one bucket. All the buckets are empty and you are having 8 elements out of 10 elements in one bucket. You are having 9 elements out of 10 elements in one bucket. So in that case, insertion sort will take quadratic time, and this will give you the worst result in case of bucket sort. So these all counting sort, radix sort, bucket sort are come under the category of sorting in linear time, which imposes certain conditions on the inputs. Each sorting algorithm has its own constraint on the inputs, but all the sorting algorithm are giving you the output sorted array in linear time, that is order of n. So this is all for this lecture from my side. Thank you.